Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. It's 11 a.m., and as promised, I would be here to share with you the messages from an archangel. It has been my great privilege over so many years now of being a channel for the archangel Raphael. And in my old age, I'm still at it and very, very joyful. But I want to talk today about the pandemic and all of the suffering that our country and the entire world is going through because of it. People ask me and ask Raphael, why would God do such a thing to us? And we have to understand that God does not do anything to anyone, that God is merely the energy by which everything exists. And we have free will as to we will react to everything that happens within our lives. Now, Thanksgiving is coming up, and the pandemic is putting a crimp on our style of family Thanksgiving togetherness. And although you don't want to hear me say this, we are encouraging all of you to just stay home instead of meeting with relatives and friends, because this is the cause of the spreading of the virus, and that is the gathering of people who don't wear a mask. And you can't eat together without taking your mask off. And so you are endangering your family when you get together with them. It is so hard to come together and worry about giving one another illness that could kill you. When you recognize that the sacrifice you are making by not gathering together at Thanksgiving, that if you have a computer and can do Zoom or some form of communication so that you can chat with one another, then you are most fortunate. But I know that there are many people that are in my listening audience who don't even have the ability to communicate in that way. And there are many others who are out there who don't even have a computer, and they don't have a way of understanding that people love them and want to be with them, but have to choose between giving their relatives, their loved ones, the virus and staying home and not infecting them. And so we wanted to spend some time today because, again, people ask, why does this happen? What have we committed sins that we are being punished for? And I cannot emphasize enough, dear friends, that there is no such thing as God that is a judge and a punisher. This is just not true. The archangels and all the angels around God are simply the messengers of the love that God has for everyone. And as you know, we use the word God more than anything, but the Creator, the Spirit that is the divine, this is just a label that is given to the energy by which everything exists. Just think about that a minute. Everything is vibrating energy. Everything that you see around you is vibrating energy. And it is only for you to recognize that you are a magnificent package of vibrating energy. You have aura upon aura on aura. And that brings us to this idea of how many dimensions in the world are there? Well, there are dimensions beyond the world, and there are dimensions within yourself. A dimension is a vibrating energy plateau that has a frequency different from others. And I had one person ask me, what do they mean by the veil? Well, the veil is the membrane of energy that separates one plateau or one plane of energy from another, so that there is an energy vibration between you and your spirit body that dwells within you. And that spirit body allows you to exist, because your soul gives you the energy from God to give you life. It is your life force. Your soul is your life force, but it doesn't have any sense of pain or emotions. This soul is too large a body of energy to be able to feel what you feel. It doesn't have that. It's your spirit energy that is a duplicate of your physical body that carries your emotions. And when you die, this spirit energy lifts out of your body and goes to the next dimension. So it is that dimension that you will go after you die. And that's what people call heaven. We have to label everything. As human beings, we have to label everything, single thing. I'm sitting on a chair. I'm looking at a computer. I'm looking in the background at my lovely picture from Rome from my son that gave it to me. I'm looking at the wonderful mosaic over here. Excuse me, it's a stained glass angel. It was my design, but it was an artist that did it. And I look around and I see all the beautiful things that I have experienced. And I'm trying to see if I turn a little bit. Yes, you can see over here, this is one of my mosaics, and it's made up of stained glass, mirrors, and stones. And those are how I do mosaics. I have many of them outside, angels. And so that's why people call my home Angel House. And I'm hoping soon to open it up as a meditation center because we now have a labyrinth going through a woods in the back that goes to a creek. It is so beautiful here. It reminds me of my home in Michigan where I had 18 acres and most of them was virgin woods. They were, never tampered with by humankind. And it is a blessing for me to share this with others. So come around Christmas time, I will be opening this, and it will be for people to come and meditate in the labyrinth. I have a walking labyrinth, and to meditate on a walk through the woods, and to meditate in the medicine wheel. So, since we're talking about that, the pandemic is a wonderful time for you to be able to learn how to meditate. So many people ask me how to do that. And with the pandemic, it is so vital to raise your energy out of fear and anxiety. Otherwise, you don't have the energy within your own physical body to be able to overcome any kind of illness. Now, I'm in the process of overcoming bronchitis, and that is something I get yearly. And of course, people worry that I have the virus, and I don't. It's just a bronchial cough. And so I don't have, I have my water here, but I usually have a cough drop. And so this is something that is common to a lot of people this time of year, and it is not the flu. It's simply a bronchial infection. But you do need to take some kind of antibiotics and some kind of supplements to increase your immune system. So we are in for an even harder time as the winter months come. And the harder times are that we can't get together outside with people as much. Here in Florida, it can be nice that we can do that. And yet, my friends in Michigan and Illinois and Ohio, they can't do that. It's getting really cold up north, and you're even probably getting snow. And so when it gets cold like that, you have to be indoors, and that increases your chances of getting the virus if you invite people in who do not have on a mask. And that means you need to have a supply of them. If somebody comes, you just hand them a mask and say, please, I need you to wear this. Because this is the only shield we have against a virus that has no conscience. It has no particular people it likes better than others. This is not a being that has knowledge or wisdom as you are as a soul with a physical body. Your physical body is in danger. And yet, when I say this next part, I need you to take a deep breath and understand the difference between your soul and you with your spirit are experiencing in a physical dimension. Your soul has a story to tell, and that story has a beginning when you were born and has an ending when you pass from this earth into the next dimension. It really is so important that you understand that this is the natural course of things. When there's a tsunami and people are caught up in it and drown, that is their exit off the planet. When there is a horrible hurricane, as we've had so many, and again, that Raphael says is because of global warming. Do not kid yourself, people. Our oceans are getting warm, which is causing the air to create these hurricanes and tornadoes and other disasters like the fires in California. The earth is getting too warm for our survival. And it is our survival that we are talking about on this planet. That we hope with the new administration, when Joe Biden gets in office, that he will give most of his attention to the survival of our planet so that my grandchildren's children will be able to have a long life upon this beautiful planet. We love Earth, and Raphael is trying to help us to save it. It is true. And if you don't believe this, it is because you don't want to look at the facts. Again, my radio people that I've talked to every Tuesday at noon, there are some who still don't believe that the pandemic is a virus and that they need to wear a mask. There are so many people that have made this a political thing. This is not a political thing, people. This is reality. And so we come today to talk about the pandemic to make you realize that this little virus, and they keep showing you pictures of it, it's called an aura. It has an aura, which is like a light around it. And it shows it as being kind of red with little mushrooms like coming out of it. That's because the scientists can actually see this virus under a microscope and how they can tell it's different from a flu bug. It's different from any other viruses that have caused deaths. It's different because we can see it under a microscope if you were able to look. So I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here because those people who would be coming to speak today would, with me, would already know this. You already know it. You already are taking care of yourselves. And thank you for doing that for me as well as for everybody else around you. It is those others who are not yet aware of my 11 o'clock Thursday live streaming video where you can come and you can talk. You can, well, it isn't exactly talk. You can text me a question and it's a live chat. And so when you come at 11 o'clock on Thursdays, which will be from now on, even if I have a cold or bronchitis or whatever it is, I will be here. And if I can't stay too long, then that's what it will be. But today, my heart goes out to all of those people who are suffering with the loss of their friends and relatives because of this pandemic. It is so much because people are not accepting it for what it is. They don't wear a mask. Unfortunately, our political side of people have been a poor example in trying to explain to you that you cannot escape this virus if you do not wear a mask. You are exposing yourself to the air by which this virus can be carried. It's airborne disease. It's carried through the spittle that comes out of your mouth when you speak. You don't see it, but they've even shown it on YouTube where you can see it when you're speaking. It goes out like that. And this is why people in families all get the same cold or flu because they transmit it to one another through the air. And so even those of you at home that you've been with a person there for a while, but if you have children coming home from college, it would behoove you to wear a mask to avoid the virus they may be carrying. They may feel perfectly all right, but you need to wear a mask so that until you've had at least 10 days to be together, and there you don't have 10 days if you are away at school or you can't be there for 10 days. So it's it's just a really tough time, and I understand it, my dear friends. So we are only encouraging you to stay safe. But let's look at the deeper side of it. You have a soul that is telling a story, and many souls have left the planet and used this exit of the virus to do so. The soul knows the time it will leave, but we as physical beings don't know. We don't really want to know. I'm 86 years old, and it could be my time anytime. And yet, I have a dear friend who's been with me for many years. It's always calling on Raphael. She does not want me to leave. It's not my choice, it's God's choice of when my time is up on this planet. I apparently have been told it won't be for a while yet. And that's the reason that I am doing all of these things. I have the Tuesday radio show that is W4WN radio. And you can type that in and you can ask questions there on a text room. And so it is my time to give back to you the messages from an archangel. And today, Raphael's heart goes out to all of those who have lost loved ones through the pandemic. Raphael does not feel emotions any more than our soul, but because Raphael is an archangel, he can sense all kinds of energy. And he isn't a he, he's an it in that he is neither male nor female. He's pure spirit. And no, he doesn't wear wings. Angels don't need wings to get from one place to another. That came about when Milton wrote Paradise Lost and gave a beautiful description of angels with these beautiful big wings, and people have taken off from that and have talked about the different choir of angels and how this angel does this, and that's true, that God has created many angels to be of service to people who are in physical worlds. And you may think I'm crazy, but there is life on other planets, dear one, and angels protect them and help them as well. We are explorers of physical worlds. That's why God created us, to be an explorer of this planet Earth, to experience its highs and lows, its ups and downs, because we are in a planet of polarities. We are never the same from one moment to the next. That's the beauty of this planet. We are constantly not only experiencing the energy of everything around us, but we're experiencing within us this whole package of emotions, from great joy and bliss to the depths of depression. And throughout our many lifetimes of exploring the planet, we're going to explore all those levels of emotions as well. And this is about energy, because each of these emotional levels have to do with energy, and we're exploring it. And a cough is coming on. A little bit of water. And hopefully that's over. Okay. So what we're saying is your soul does not experience your emotions. So it can tell the story and be very detached from it, which is why if you suffer a loss of a limb, you suffer it. You as a physical being suffer it, but your soul doesn't. And so this may be a shorter video than I had planned. I just want you to know that I will be here and that you are welcome to come to this live chat so that you can ask questions. And I will see it over here on the right. And yet nobody is yet knowing about this, or they would be coming in and talking with us. It really is important that you understand that you are a sentient being wearing a physical bodysuit, like a spacesuit, exploring a physical world. You are here for only a short period. Now, our spacemen and women went off to the space station for a certain number of months to experience what it's like to be off from the polarities of this planet. And they kind of float around in the spacecraft because there is no gravity. We here on the planet experience gravity, time, and space. This allows us to have an experience, to be able to look back on that experience and give it words to describe it, and also to look at how we reacted emotionally. This is why Raphael has really encouraged everybody to keep a journal of your emotional barometer. What happens when something makes you sad? What happened when something makes you angry? What happens when something makes you happy? Look at all of those things, and as you study them, you can begin to create the happy kind of experiences and experience much more joy in your life. Of course, we are thinking about those soldiers who come back from a war, who have seen atrocities, who have seen their friends die right at their feet, who've experienced such trauma that they come back and they can't even be themselves ever again. And so, to those veterans, my heart goes out to you. And we encourage you to go seek help for those people who know how to heal the trauma of your emotions. Your emotions need healing. And if you've gone through a divorce and you've had that misfortune of a marriage that crumbles and cannot be saved, you know the tragedy of it, and it wounds the heart, and you will feel as though you are being torn apart inside. This is what humans experience. And you, as a sentient being, have a soul and a divine spirit within you that helps you to cope each night when you go to sleep. Your spirit body rises out of your physical body. It looks exactly like you and is wearing your pajamas, and it leaves the planet and it travels all over. It can go anywhere in the universe. That's what's so amazing. There is a silver cord attached to your umbilical cord, your physical umbilical cord, and your spirit's umbilical cord. You are attached by the silver cord that's like a yo yo string. You can go anywhere you want to explore, it can stretch that far. And when you come back, it just sort of rewinds itself back into your physical body, and you are ready to wake up. So your body, your spirit body gets a warning when you are ready to wake up for whatever reason, and it comes back. You cannot, when you leave at night, you do not break that silver cord unless it is your time to die. And then if some people say, man, I really wish I would just die in my sleep, that would be a peaceful way to go. And yes, it would, because that can happen. And yet there usually is a reason. And the reason that I'm getting at now is this pandemic. And for me to say to you that your soul chose the pandemic as an exit off the highway of life, it sounds so unreal and even cruel. And yet it is so. And it isn't because they chose not to wear a mask or wear a mask. It has nothing to do with that. And this is why people are getting away with not wearing a mask and not getting the virus. And they say, see, we're proving to you that the mask doesn't make any difference. Aha, but they don't know. They have a soul that makes the difference. And if they are flirting with death, the soul may say, okay, then I will take this opportunity to end my journey to the planet Earth and go home. But when they get to the other side, dear friends, they have what's called a life review. And what they didn't know while they were in a physical body on planet Earth, they will soon be awakened to truth. And the truth is that this virus does not have any favorites, does not allow certain people who believe that God protects them, it will hit you and it could be your exit off the highway of life. Now, you do have a soul plan. And when you take care of your body will serve you for a very long time, as mine has done. I take care of it. I eat right. And yet I know so many people who have said, I eat right, I do physical exercise, and yet here I am sick with a virus. Well, somebody gave it to you, and it wasn't in a package, and it wasn't given with a bow tie on the package. It was because they didn't understand how this virus can kill. And if you get the virus and you do decide, as your soul will do, you don't decide that. That's the thing you need to understand, people. Your soul is the one that decides when it's time to leave. You don't. Your soul does not feel emotions as you do. That's why your soul can be totally detached from the suffering you go through at the loss of a loved one. It doesn't feel. But your soul is the one in charge. Your soul is the one telling the story. Your soul is this magnificent, huge being of divine light. I see it in a column that rises up right through the ceiling. It's so big. And I see it as colors, vibration. Energy is color, vibration, and sound. And so when I do a reading for you with Raphael giving me the information, I see your soul color. And that tells me so much about you. One lady I read for just this week was a blue soul. She was in charge of communicating ideas to other people. And sure enough, she turned out to be someone who was in the communication field. I often see them as blue souls, whereas other souls that I see who are helping people, all of the people in the healthcare service are usually green souls. And that means that their energy is built from God to be a healer. They are driven to that almost in every lifetime to be somehow of service to other people. Red souls, on the other hand, are usually the ones who tend to end up in the Army or the Navy or the Marine Corps because they want to serve their country. They want to wear a uniform. And if they can't do that, then perhaps they'll be your UPS man. So it is a pattern that is well established on the planet that you are living in. There is a divine plan for every single soul on the planet. God knows that plan. The soul knows part of it. It doesn't know the future, but it does know what it planned to experience. And before the soul came and incarnated in a physical body on the planet, it actually took time to study different parents, to choose the parents that it would have to get their DNA that would be used to create the physical body. And so there was a divine plan and is ongoing divine plan for your life, people. And it doesn't mean that you can flirt with death. It doesn't mean that you can say, oh, God will choose the time for me to go. I don't have to wear a mask. I will be protected. That's baloney. That is just baloney. And when you cross to the other side, if it was sooner than it was supposed to be because of your flagrant disregard to science, you're probably going to see a different side of your story. And you likely will have to come back again because you committed suicide through the virus when you ignored it. And anybody who commits suicide has to turn around and come right back again and finish the life cycle that they would have had they taken care of the precautions. Now, I'm really getting into deep metaphysics when I tell you this, but there is a turnaround for people who commit suicide where they have to plan another lifetime that will have the same kind of emotional challenge, and it's usually the emotions or an addiction. If you have an addiction and you leave the planet with that addiction, you will have to come back again and again until you overcome the addiction. That's the balance that is the energy of God. For you to be free of this planet, you have to be free of any addictions that hold you to the planet. And that means if you are an alcoholic or a drug addict or addicted to a person, a place, or a thing like money and power, it will bring you right back until you can get rid of all of those addictions and you can see God as the only thing you worship. And you give your allegiance to God and to no one else. There are no false gods before me, as was said in the Bible. I am the Lord thy God, and thou shalt not worship other gods. I left pause there because the commandments that were given by Moses are still a functioning set of rules. They are that you love yourself unconditionally, but you don't indulge yourself with all of the sweets, with all of the sweetness of life, because that is the only thing you want to experience. And power is a form of addiction. Having power and control over others is an addiction. And those who have it and are addicted to it, and they lose their life for whatever reason, their next lifetime, they'll be experiencing a tug of war between somebody else and themselves over power. And yet, it is a different story. When you look at this whole experience, it is not a matter of judging. It is not a matter of karma where you come back because you owe a debt. It's not that at all. It has to do with experience being the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher, everybody. And that's why we have time and space on this planet. It's such a gift because it gives us a chance to experience something and then look back on it and say, whoa, if I could do that over again, I might do something different. And yes, you get a chance to do it over again and you get wiser and wiser. And that's why Raphael suggests you keep an emotional journal, not a journal that you went to the market today and bought bread, a journal of how you reacted to the sales clerk who was rude to you. Did you get rude right back to her or him? Or did you smile and wish them a good day? You have a choice, your emotional choice of how you will react to other people and to life on this planet. Let me say this again. You have been given the gift of free will. God set you upon this planet in a physical body and gave you the ability to choose each moment how you will live your life. Each moment. And if you look back, which is another gift, we can look behind. We can see what we did back there. And then we can say, I did this plus that plus this plus that equals 4 things that created a very discomfortable feeling inside of me. How can I change that? You can change it by first becoming aware of it. And how do you become aware of it? If you don't take time to meditate, which brings us right back to our topic. And how do you meditate? You breathe. You learn to breathe deeply. You learn to breathe in the divine energy as you relax the physical body and let go of all tension and all doubt and all fears and anxieties. And just doing that takes you into a meditative state of free joy. It's free. There's no entrance fee. There's no requirements to enter a state of joy, which is the inner kingdom within you. The kingdom of heaven, as Jesus said. You enter that state of bliss when you learn to meditate and let go of your fears and anxieties and the chatter of the left hemisphere of the brain that has to analyze everything, has to give a name to everything, has to judge everything. You let go of that side of the brain and you look at the right side of the brain, and it allows you to see things in pictures. and in abstract ideas that give you, as they say, 1,000 different ideas in one picture. Picture is worth 1,000 words. So think about the angels, this woman sitting behind me on this picture, and these little cherubs whispering God's words into their ear, to the ear. And this angel over here, that is what we picture angels to be, even little cherubs over there. They don't wear wings, folks. They don't wear wings. They are pure, divine, loving spirit of God. They come to you to bring you the information you are seeking. And when you get quiet enough, when you breathe deeply, that goes all the way down to your gut. So many people, when they breathe like this. And it's all up here in the chest, and they tighten up their neck, and they just get a shallow breath. And if they were to do that again and again, you get dizzy and pass out. Deep breathing, abdominal breathing, goes all the way down to the abdominal muscle, and it actually moves it into the gut, so that when you take a deep breath like this, nothing moves up here. It's all in the gut. Learn to do abdominal breathing, for it will indeed help you to get into a wonderful state of peace and harmony within you. With this pandemic forcing you to be at home, get your family to gather around together. Not, I hope, not those who have been outside in the world, but the family you live with. Hold hands as you say a prayer that says, "Open my mind, Lord, to you. Open my heart and my soul to you, and allow me to hear your voice within me, to see pictures as you speak to me in those pictures rather than words. Open up my mind, my heart, and my soul to God, so that I may rejoice that I am one with God this day." Yes, have a gathering together to meditate. It's so much easier to do it with somebody else. When you're by yourself, it's so easy to get your mind going chitter chatter over here. It's talk, 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 talk. What should I do? What will I eat for dinner? Blah, blah, blah. I need to put this, get this out of the freezer, blah, blah, blah. It's so easy to get caught up in that. But when you hear that chitter chatter, you take a slow, deep breath and you relax your body even more, so that you almost feel like you're going to fall asleep. And then you are at what's called the alpha state of mind. And that's when you can let go of all of that jibber jabber and begin to hear the voice of your angels. Wouldn't that be wonderful to learn to experience that and give credit to the pandemic for it being how you learned to meditate? And so I'm going to leave you for today with a few words of wisdom from Raphael. That is, love one another as God loves you. Love one another without judgment, as God does not judge you. Be kind to one another, even if they are not kind to you. Be patient with one another when they are fearful and anxious. Send them blessings and love. During this Thanksgiving holiday, do wear a mask if you're coming from away. And if you have to eat with someone, separate them. If they are from the outside, separate them in a different table, so that when they eat, they can take off their mask and they will not be spreading germs to you, at least 6 feet away. The germs from the spittle from your mouth doesn't usually travel more than 5 feet or 6 feet. Those are precautions that you can take if you do decide to come together. But remember, God loves you more than you can even begin to imagine. And this is not a punishment, this pandemic. It is simply a matter of nature taking its course. Yes, this did start in China in an open market where animals, wild animals, were killed, and the virus, probably from I want to say rats because they look like that. Bats, that's the word I want. Probably from bats were put together was inside some of these, and people got this strain of the virus. It's a natural cause effect. It's just natural. And pandemics come and go upon the earth. No one is We do not blame China for this happening. We learn from our experiences and from things that don't seem to work right. And that's where we've got all these hundreds of thousands of rules and laws on the books, is because something bad happens and somebody says, we've got to make a law to prevent this from happening again. And so we make another law. And oftentimes the law doesn't do a darn bit of good, because it hasn't reached the soul of the law, which is to love one another, to take care of one another, to bring peace to one another rather than anxiety and fear. And so, during this pandemic, if you must come together with family, do wear a mask, particularly if it's somebody who's been out in the public eye and could easily be carrying the virus. Separate them out of your love for yourself and for them. Separate them from the family, but yet make it 6 feet away. Maybe they sit at the kitchen counter while the rest of you sit at the table. Do be cautious. And do know that if you do contract the virus and it is your time to leave, your soul will use the virus as the exit off the highway of life. And that's not all bad, because you get to leave this physical body and you get to go home. So don't be afraid. On the other hand, don't look at it as, well, I'm immune because God's protecting me. No, doesn't have that job. That's your job. God does not have anything to do with the choices you make. God gives you the energy to make those choices. And then you, as a soul, get to reap what you have sown. Know that God loves you. We love you, Raphael and I. And we wish you a wonderful, wonderful week until we see you again next week on Thanksgiving Day. Can you believe? We'll be here at 11 o'clock. Perhaps you'll share us with friends. Until next time, God bless you. Thank you for joining us. Please tell people to come visit us and to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down there. And then next time, don't be afraid to ask questions, because that's why we're doing this live at 11 o'clock every Thursday. And that's quite a commitment. I'm doing the radio show every Tuesday at noon. And that has been quite a commitment to make sure I'm ready. I have my makeup on, I have all of that stuff. And so we say until next time, stay safe, wear a mask, and God bless you.